Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Ultra Gogeta and my build for Ultra Gogeta and just how good he is in Legends, at least as good as I can build him. So Gogeta is a strike based unit. He's a little bit glass cannony. He's got okayish defense, but yeah, he's a little bit glass cannony. He's a bit of like a high damage kind of guy. Restores his own ki by 5 upon activation. He's got very large amounts of ki recovery, which is super duper good. And he's very heavily emphasis on special damage. He can pull out special moves pretty much out of everywhere, out of his back pocket, his left shoe, his sock. It doesn't matter. This guy can just absolutely decimate with special damage. His special card is still pretty good. Nullifies the enemy's special cover change mechanics. Gives him additional strike damage, which is pretty good. And yeah, just lets you obviously cause some issues to the opposition, which is great. Also, downgrades get cancelled, so it's all fairly decent stuff. Then we have Soul Punisher, the ultimate move, which is pretty good. Obviously gives him a bit of a boost as well. His main ability draws the Soul Punisher, health restoration, ki restoration, and some extra damage inflicted, which is fine. Nothing too wild here in terms of main ability. His Ultra Leader skill means that you want to run him on a Fusion Warrior team, or you want to run him as a lead of whichever team, because that'll give him plus 30% damage inflicted and 30% ki recovery. So pretty good stuff. Then in terms of his Z ability, he's got plus 30% to tag Fusion Warrior or tag Sand, base strike attack or base defense, which is pretty good. He's then got Supreme Otherworld Shattering Power, which gives him 100% to damage inflicted, damage reduction of 50%, and art card draw speed. So pretty good stuff. Always with a increased art card draw speed means you can really try to get the combos going with this guy, which is pretty good. He also has a unique gauge. The unique gauge heals him, gives him a special card, and yeah, it's a pretty nice unique gauge. Maybe not as interesting as like your ultra hits or anything like that, but pretty good. And when 2 allies are defeated, he will draw the Soul Punisher card, so he's one of the few units that can actually use 2 of his ultimate ability, which is pretty good. And if there's a defeated battle member when he enters the battlefield, he'll nullify all unfavorable elements and inflict them with no switching, which is nice. So if you have a defeated battle member and you switch him in, then he can, hopefully eliminate or deal some big damage, which would be pretty helpful. In terms of equipment, nothing too strange that you want to run here. You want to give him some defense. Like I said, he is a little bit of a glass cannon, so whatever defense you can give him is great, but remember to give him strike and special move damage if possible as well. Crit also helps with this guy, and health of course is always great. But yeah, priorities would probably be strike damage, some defenses, and then special move, HP, or crit with whatever you got left, realistically speaking. We're going to be trying him on a majority Fusion Warrior team, so he will be having his 15% buff. And yeah, just going to see how he does overall. Honestly, Ultra Gogeta is pretty nice as a unit, I want to say. I think he looks pretty solid. I don't know, I like him. I like him quite a bit. I think he still can do decent damage. The big thing is going to depend on your team bonuses and boosts and how you build the team, but yeah, the big thing with this guy is there is kind of that question around his defense. He can take quite a fair chunk of damage, which, I don't want to say is to be expected, but he can take damage. And not that it's like cripples him, but I think when you take so much damage, it can be a little bit disconcerting, especially in this current meta where you have so many units that can just like insta blow you up nowadays. You know, so many units that they switch in, they hit their special, they get their main. You're still being in a knockback combo or out of vanish engage, and yeah, you just get basically insta incinerated. I do think he's definitely kind of like a lesser version of the purple Gogeta. Uh, you know, to put it bluntly, like he is, they both throw out a ton of specials. That's obviously Gogeta's thing. Like the ability to draw special cards, left, right, and center is always something that's like helpful. Yeah, I want to say it's always their gimmick. Their gimmick is to have a ton of special cards, to throw them out, to cause big damage. The big thing with Gogeta is the timing of those special cards. You don't just want to throw them out. You want to toss them when you can get them in combination with each other. You want to increase that special move damage by popping his main or by popping a special move before his main. So realistically what you want to do is you want to have the setup for the special move already in place, and then when it's set up or you combo into it like I'm trying to do here off of the unique gauge, when you combo into it, then all of a sudden you have a special move which comes in handy. I think for a lot of people that's not necessarily the easiest thing to always do. I think Gogeta's a great unit, but he does actually require you to know how to use him. And I'll be honest, I'm working on getting better at using him, but he definitely isn't bad. He still can work if you get him. He's really, really awesome still. I think he can do great damage. It honestly just means you're going to have to learn how to use him, set him up, let him jump in, let the enemy be out of vanish engage or be locked in a combo. Let him switch in, let him hit him with the ultimate move. Let him then step out, dodge, evade, whatever, cross step into another combo, and you'll see big damage. Like 2 ultimates in a row from Gogeta is really where the damage starts to fly, because things get a bit messy, especially when you jump in after you've lost a battle member. Then Gogeta can really, really start to toss out like big beams. I think, his defense is always going to be something that causes some concern. So you are going to probably want to look at health, whether it's health team bonuses, whether it's health skills, whether it's health equipment. Whatever you can to throw health on this guy is really going to help you. Defense, defense equipment helps. Defense passives helps. Zenkai boosts help. But for me, the big question is always like, can they survive the attacks? Because a lot of units can heal. Gogeta himself can even heal off of his unique gauge. So surviving the attacks and then being able to activate your heal mechanisms is always, at least for me, somewhat worth more than the actual notion of worth more than the actual principle of like having the defense in the first place. So it is kind of a question of like, okay, we need to specifically target having health, which helps Gogeta a lot, and I think it's a lot easier than to run tons of defense equipment, because Gogeta also won't do damage if you just run defensive equipment. He's not that way inclined. He doesn't build stacks, reduce enemy armor, or do something like Vegito kind of does. Vegito kind of wears the enemy down when he starts casting a lot of blast moves, and I think like that's there for Ultra Gogeta, but it's not. Like, he doesn't have those. He's very reliant on his equipment, his super moves, his everything. And you can see here, I mean, he doesn't get insta one shot, but he doesn't soak damage like absolute maniac. So it is something that you do need to be aware of to a certain extent, and try and counteract with the way you build your team. Maybe bring a unit that has a health bonus. I don't have one. I think every team should have one. An extra, especially if you've got a high one, like a 20%, extra 20% health is incredibly important in the current meta. Units don't survive as long when they're missing so much additive health, especially with equipments and that. So, yeah, if there's one thing I can always suggest, it's, health. Like, health makes every unit look better, which I think is important, especially for Gogeta, especially for any of these units. I think it is super important with that. But you can see here, gets the ulti off. It'll do some decent damage, but really the big ticket item with the ulti is to refresh and go again with the ulti and kind of get even more damage in. But like I said, Gogeta is a kind of unit that, when he first came out was broken, I think, with his special damage, but now to really get him kind of going, you want to probably learn how to play him to a certain degree. Like, you don't want to be someone that's, stuck in their ways, not able to use them properly. I think is incredibly important. You can see here, the strikes don't necessarily do the craziest damage. We are taking on a tech type. They do slowly ramp up over time. But yeah, it's not really like, he can do decent damage, but it's not really like, if you set him up into the combo, he'll do the decent damage, but it's not like we just switched him in and he just decimated. Like, we switched him in, let him get set up in the combo, and now he's looking a lot better. So yeah, I think Gogeta is still usable in the current meta. I just think you probably want to really grind his gear, get him some really good team bonuses, get him some health team bonuses, and then let him cook. Then he can start to cook. He can look really good. You are going to need some combo breakers, cover changes, things like that, I think, to make him feel a lot more impactful, at least for me. This guy's basically wrecking the same damn team as us, pretty much. It's fusion on fusion. Hell of a ride here. But yeah, you are going, like, try and get him some Zenkai boosts as well. I do think those help. I think, to rock a second Zenkai boost on this team probably would be what I'd like to do. Alongside the blue Vegeta, just rock that second Zenkai boost. Really give Gogeta that extra edge. Those raw stats add up, especially for Gogeta, who, I don't have high up on the stars, and it does really help to have those extra stats. Is he usable in today's meta? For sure. Definitely, you'll still see people in even God class PvP using Gogeta, so he is still viable. Whether he's a mainstay of teams or he's kind of been almost pseudo replaced by Ultra Blue Gogeta, which isn't a bad thing. Like I said, they're very similar units, so it's really not a surprise to see them, not replace each other, but compete with each other for that slot on that team. I think that's not surprising, at least to me, to see them kind of sit in and both kind of soak that same area or that same, like, kind of attention in your team build. They're both strike orientated, they're both blue card heavy. It's very, very, makes a lot of sense that they are in that kind of realm. Of course, so it's not always so cut and dry. I think for a lot of people, it's just dependent on whether you can get the combos going. You can see here, we are not able to get the combos going. Nothing's really happening with the team, and then things turn around. Then you manage to get the combos. You manage to get some of the damage out. Gogeta with a big ulti on on red Gogeta, which is great, which is fine. We get a follow-up ulti as well. We get we do find we soak up some damage, and then you're able to really get the combos going. That's how PvP always is. Sometimes it is super difficult to showcase some units because at the end of the day, the game is indeed about getting combinations off. It's about doing certain things with your units, getting their combos off, getting their special cards in the right place, and it can completely change the tide of a battle when you do manage to, like, how can I say, do you manage to get everything off that you're supposed to get off. If the enemy gets off their combos and they're running buffs, then you tend to be in trouble. Here we can see Gogeta. Obviously we're using the Rising Rush with him, and we managed to get it off, which is a huge turnaround in the fight. But you can see, like, Gogeta does struggle a little bit against green units. I think we saw that with Trunks. We're definitely seeing it now against SS4 Gogeta. He's not doing huge damage. Now, if a battle member was defeated and we switched Gogeta in and he got an ulti off on the first 5 timer counts, he would actually deal significant damage, because remember, that will nullify unfavorable elements. So it is, like I say, it is how you use the units as well. Gogeta can do damage to green units. He just has to basically be set up to do so, which, not saying it's impossible, but it is something that you need to remember to do with Gogeta more so than anything. But yeah, damage is decent. I've always found him to be pretty solid. Tankiness is questionable. You can see here, he's not the tankiest unit, and he's never gonna be the tankiest unit. Even with another health buff and a Zenkai boost and working on his equipment, he'll get by being manageable. He'll get by being a solid tanky option. But I don't think he'd ever sit in the realm of being an absolute mega Chad tank. But he's not fragile enough to not warrant his damage, at least for me. I think he's definitely solid. We saw him do some decent damage there again. Good against raid units, obviously, but will be solid against type neutrals as well. I think we've seen decent from him. He can maybe struggle against green units. But yeah, overall, I think he looks really good. And yeah, but that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, if you did, leave a like. And yeah, that's my build for Ultra Gogeta. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys next time. Bye.